Shout outs to all those people out there that want to make a difference. Shout out to all those people out there that want to raise your awareness, that want to keep things going in the right way and move in the right direction. Shout outs to all my people out there that just want to have a better life and a better existence. I'm coming to YouTube today to make my own video of things that I think that's in my views that need to be spoken about, and that's not being talked about. When we coming on YouTube. I mean, it may be talked about in some instances, but it ain't really being touched on like it should be. We got a lot of so-called people out here talking about their conscience in our community, but we still ain't seeing no difference being made. We still ain't seeing the things that we need to be seeing, though, to raise our people up and to, push our children into the next generation, whereas we can have something in this world. Right now, we're the only people in this world that don't have anything, and it seems like most of our people don't care. I'm not gonna speak for all of our people, but I'm gonna say most of the people that I see that walks around in my daily life, they don't care. They only care about the things that's going on in their life, and that's the main problem with black people today is they're too individualized. Everything is about themselves, and nothing is about us as a unified group. All the other groups in the world, and black people talk about this. I hear black people talk about this all the time, how every other group in the world holds it together except for black people. But yet I still see black people walking around here as an individualized group. I think this needs to stop, and I think it needs to stop now, though, because if it doesn't, we're going to be exterminated, man. Our group is dying out at an alarming rate. That black on black crime stuff, I don't buy into that stuff, though, because each group has its own individualized, if you want to say demographic, when you're talking about killing, each other, though. If you go to Mexico, Mexicans killing each other. If you go to China, China killing each other. If you go around the country with white folks killing each other. So I don't believe on that black on black crime myth, all right? It's everywhere when you go around. But when you talk about the way black people treat each other in general, oh man, that's a whole nother subject, though, and I think that needs to be touched on. I think it needs to be sounded out with a big horn, a big bull horn. Most black people, though, they don't care about no other black people, though, because they don't care about themselves. When you start talking about black pride and caring about self and things of that nature, black people start looking the other way. But if you start talking about empire and all of these other stupid shows, Housewives of Atlanta and all these stuff, oh, they ready to go in on the gossip. They ready to go in on it. Anything that doesn't have to do with black people empowering themselves, they ready to do it. And I think that this right here is the downfall of our people, because we're not ready to ascend to the next dimension, though, that's coming right now. And it's right here, right now in our face. It's been calling us for a long time. But we can't reach it, though, because we're so mentally dead, though, that, that the dimension is going to pass us by. We're going to get trapped with the rest of these people who are actually mentally dead. We're supposed to be the first original people, though, but we're not showing that we're original people. Original people are leaders. Original people set the tone. Yeah, we can dance. Yeah, we can play basketball. We can sing. Everybody knows that already. But what can we do mentally to uplift ourselves? We're just entertainment for the world, basically, is all we are. Entertainment. Nobody takes us serious. Nobody says, hey, look, hey, these guys, they're coming up. We're going to have to get with this group because they mean something in the world over there. Intellectually, versatile, though. Nobody says that, because they know that we're not. I don't care how many colleges that we go to. They don't think that we're intellectually capable of even running our own communities, not alone the world. And the other minorities, so-called minorities in the world, they've been looking at us for years like, when are y'all going to stand up? When are y'all going to stand up and be the people that y'all used to be centuries and centuries ago? It's been 6 days in our history, which we call 6,000 years, that we've been asleep, mentally dead. And all nations have ran over us and enslaved us. And most black people don't know that. And they pass it off as, past history. But past history is right now. What we're doing today, what we're living today, this is past history. We're doing the same thing that our ancestors were doing, though, and that's being enslaved by another people because we lost our way. We turned away from our creator. We turned away from our God, though, you know what I mean? And I'm not gonna say that God wants us to be in slavery and God wants us to have bad things happen to us, because I don't sit well with that either, because he's a righteous God, though, you know what I mean? So he has done nothing unrighteous in his whole existence, so I don't believe in that. What I do believe as a whole, though, that black people have the power that came from the first original creation, and they don't use it. We don't use it. We don't do the things that we need to do on this planet to be able to uplift ourselves, because we don't want to have to take responsibility for ourselves. Other nations would be able to run over us if we would take responsibility for ourselves. Other nations will respect us if we respect ourselves. If we just start turning to each other and say, hey, I'm gonna respect this individual because he is me and I am him, then I think that we'll go a long, long way with just that alone. We marching in the street. Who's still marching in the streets? Who's still marching in the streets in this day and time while our youth is being put in the ground, though, 6 feet under, though, because somebody done killed them because they don't care about black lives? Tell me who's still marching in the streets. I guarantee the other groups ain't gonna be marching in the streets if you killing their kids. But for some reason, we still doing this marching in the streets, talking about non-violence. You know, and I'm not promoting violence at all, not at all. But at the same time, though, I think that we need to stand up and make a correction in our way of living. First of all, we so involved in materialistic life that we can't even see ourselves for what we are now. We got girls running around here that's half naked. We got the dudes looking at the half naked girls promoting it. We got, you know what I'm saying, niggas just don't care. All they care about is booty, titties, and I'm gonna get my butt done, and I'm gonna look at her butt, and that's all that matters now, though. You know, nothing else matters that's important. And I think that's right there is the biggest downfall of our community in itself, though, is because we think about other things that shouldn't be really thought about right there now at this point in time in our history. And we got a lot of leaders out here that's trying to lead, but I mean it's futile. And I see why it's futile, because the main reason it's futile is because most black people don't want to go to the mental world, and that's where we got to go. You got to go to the mental world. The mental world is what rules everything. And if you're not ruling your mental world, then you are already lost. Your mental world creates your life. Your mental world is what you can control but won't control. Your thoughts can be controlled. You can control your thoughts. It's a matter if you want to control your thoughts. These are the things that need to be taught to the black community, instead of running around watching Empire and what's the next rap video and who got the biggest rims. We need to start teaching our children that their minds are a piece of gold nugget, that if you just take it and don't sell it, but take it and refine it, it'll turn into the best gold that you've ever had in life, because we hold the original substance of creation. We hold that. And we need to start teaching our children that is what's within us. There is nothing outside in space waiting to come and save us. You got a lot of black folks still in church, hooping and hollering and going on, and no disrespect to those who still are in the religion, because, I mean, we all pass through there at some point in time, though, to get us to where we at. But you still got people, black people, still stuck in religion, and that religion ain't did nothing for their life except for, you know, just, I guess, give them entertainment on Sundays and Wednesdays, you know, and Saturdays you might have Kool-Aid and cookies, you know, and talk about Moses instead of Jesus, though. But I mean, none of that stuff has mattered to black people since we came to America, and it never will, because we are lost out of the way that we are supposed to be going. None of these religions are ours. They were brought here to enslave us. That's what they were brought here to do. And anytime that black people start talking about this kind of stuff, then then we start turning, nobody wants to hear us then, though. Or then we're racist, you know, and things of that nature. But I don't think it's racist what I'm saying. Any of the things that I'm talking about right now is just direct proof if you just go and read it yourself. If you go and do the information and the research yourself, you'll find out that most of these religions out here were brought here to enslave black people, because the original creation needed no God out in space. The original creation knew that God existed within, and we are part of the original creation. Non-ether beings. When everything else was formed, we was right there, sitting right there, being formed with it. And now we are in the physical state, and we came down in the physical state to enjoy this physical world that we helped create. And we have become enslaved in this physical world because we have become enslaved to our own minds. And we have let our minds lead us into temptations, and it has brought us this low. Anything that has happened in our life, we have brought it to ourselves. Anything that has happened in our history, we have brought it to ourselves. This is only 6 days in our history that we have been down and out. We have existed for billions and billions and billions of years. Don't let nobody fool you. We have. They cannot put a record or a date on the existence or the beginning of black people. They can't do it because we cannot be found, because we come from original creation. We come from, what, if you want to call it God, we come from God himself, and God has no beginning nor end, and we come from that. And so I'm here at work today, and I'm like, you know what, I'm just got so much on my mind, I just want to start talking about it. And so I make my first video today talking about the things that need to be talked about in the black community, instead of us running around trying to figure out what we can do next to be evil, because that's what it is. We're continually evil all day long, and then we go sit in church on Sunday talking about Jesus saved me from my sins, and he has redeemed me, and redemption is nigh, and all this other stuff though. But when we walk out of the church, our minds switch right back to what we was doing right before we walked through the door, if it wasn't like that while we were sitting in church. And that's hypocritical for people who have lost everything. We have lost everything, including our own lives and our own minds. The minds that are dwelling with us now aren't even ours. They're being programmed every day by another people. And you know, no love lost to none of the people in the world, but at the same time though, this has to be out. This has to be brought out, because we have to start turning and looking within at ourselves and saying, hey, we need to make a change within ourselves. And once we make this change within ourselves, then on the outside world, then other people will start looking and making a change with us too. Because until we start respecting ourselves, nobody else is gonna respect us. We're still running around here on Twitter and Facebook naked and all of this other stuff that's going on that's useless. And then all of our kids are growing up doing the same thing. We wonder why Tanisha is pregnant at 11, and we haven't mothered or fathered Tanisha. Black man is blaming the black man is blaming the white man for his condition, which the condition was created by him. But it doesn't have to stay that way. It doesn't have to stay that way, because we can make a change and a difference. We can make a change and a difference today if we just put our minds to it. You understand? If you could just put your mind to just that alone. We're just so far behind. The black man is blaming the black woman, and the black woman is blaming the black man. And nobody is sitting down talking about these issues together. We're still going back and forth debating on who's the problem. And then you got these people out here talking about, you know, they talk about the problem, but they don't never recommend a solution. The solution is that we sit down on a daily basis. When we wake up out of our beds, we sit down on a daily basis and plan for ourselves how our day is going to go. And we stick to that plan. First, it starts with a thought. My thought is my day is going to go well. I won't let nothing and nobody get in the way of my day going well. Then you go to the next thought of, I will not, you know what I'm saying, disrespect any of my people today. Even if I'm disrespected, unless it gets to the point whereas I have to check somebody, I still will remain in my composure. Because when we talk about being Christians and Muslims and stuff though, we're supposed to be following a particular code. A lot of black people talking about, well, I'm a Christian, but I don't see none of them doing nothing that Jesus said in the book. I don't see none of them doing it. You know, one of the most realest Christians I know, she's gone now, and that was my grandmother. And she practiced what she actually preached. Those were the old school real Christians. Today's Christians say, I'm a Christian, but they ain't never even read the Bible. You walk around and you be like, hey man, well, what you believe in? Well, I'm a Christian. Well, can you tell me a little bit about it? Well, no, I really can't though, because I ain't never read nothing. And I think that's a bunch of crap. And then we turn around and tell our kids that that's what religion they are, instead of letting them have minds for themselves though. But this generation that's coming up now, they don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that, you know, Jesus died for my sins and Moses' hand turned blue and green. And they don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear nothing about no Bible, because we lost the way. We lost the way a long time ago. So now it's time for us to get this way back. And what it is we need to start sitting down, checking ourselves. What are you thinking today? What are you feeding your mind today with your thoughts? And there's a passage in the Bible, and I'm not a religious man, but I've read all the religious texts though. But there's a passage in the Bible that says, be you perfect, even as your Father in heaven is perfect. That's in the Bible. The Christ said it, and it's also in Exodus. And it's crazy to me how it can say that, but people say, well, there's no perfect person in the world. Well, I don't think that text would have said that if we couldn't strive to be that. He said we were made in his image and his likeness. So if we're made in his image and likeness, that means we can be just like him. We can do the same things that he can do. As a group, if we came together, the world would fear and tremble and fall down naked, because as a group, we are the most powerful group in the universe. We are the smartest people on this planet Earth, but now we are seen like we are the dumbest people on this planet. We can't even rule our own neighborhoods. Heck, we can't even rule ourselves. We can't watch our language. I mean, you know, I'm not judging nobody, but I hear so many kids now with foul language, and I'm like, I remember when I was growing up, foul language was just like, you know, I mean, it was taboo. You know, your parents, you know, you heard them saying, but you was scared to say, you was scared to say curse words. Nowadays, you hear 9 and 10-year-olds cursing, and it's like, man, like, how you expect your kids not to curse, but you sitting up there cussing them out every day? You know, it's just that kind of stuff, though. I just don't understand, though. You know what I mean? Like, it's a mentality that we have that we don't want to get rid of. We don't want to get rid of this mentality because it's called being black. You know what I mean? Like, what is the definition of being black? What is that definition? Because the definition that they gave it a long time ago ain't the same definition that we got now. It's a whole nother world out here that exists that you can't see because you're still blinded to this thing that you're black. You know what I mean? And I just don't get that, you know? So, I mean, I'm not going to keep on going on and on about this subject. I got many other subjects that I wish to talk about, especially with the so-called conscious community. But being conscious means being aware. Being conscious means being aware of your thoughts, your surroundings, and everything else. But if you conscious, what are you conscious of? Information that you read? You know, you got a lot of conscious brothers and sisters out here talking about they know their history and they know they self, but do you know yourself? Do you actually really know yourself? I mean, because most of them that still run around, if you go on Facebook, they still got these crazy posts they putting up. They still arguing and going back and forth and debating. And a conscious person don't do that. When you know yourself, you don't have to argue with nobody because you know what life is all about. Consciousness is awareness. What are you aware of today? What are you feeding your mind today? And if you have children, what are you teaching them? What are you feeding them so that they can grow up and be productive? Because in 20 or 30 years old, man, where we going to be at as a people? Right now, we are so destroyed and so broke down. Like, where we going to be at in 20 or 30 years if we keep this kind of conduct up? And, you know, like a lot of black folks just don't want to admit it to themselves, though. Like, it's us who needs to take a look inward. You know, it's time for us to stop looking outward and start looking inward and say, hey, look. Let's fix ourselves. And when we fix ourselves, others will respect us. Y'all forgive me for going on with this rant, though, but I just had to get a few things off my chest this morning. I wanted to post this video because it's my first video, and I just wanted to see how it takes off. If it doesn't, I mean, that's fine too, though. But I mean, I just like to put a lot of things out there, though, that needs to be talked about that a lot of black people ain't talking about. A lot of black people are scared to talk about it. Then you got a lot of black people who don't want to talk about it because when you start talking about things like this, then you got to start looking at yourself and say, what am I doing on an everyday basis to make the black community fail? What am I doing on an everyday basis to keep the black community from coming together? And we're not talking about these people out here that's black people that don't want nothing. They don't want no career. They don't want no life. They don't care about anything except for doing the dirt that they doing. We're not talking about those because we're all not going to make it. Contrary to the popular belief that we're all going to be saved and all of this stuff, though, that's not true. We're not all going to make it. And it's only going to be a select few of us who have that mentality to say when the new world does break in, because it's coming. You know, it's like the boy who cried wolf. You know, all of these years when you were growing up, you heard, oh, the world is in and the world is in and oh, the world is in and all right. But this particular type of way of living is what we're talking about, not the earth itself. The earth existed for billions of years and it was built for us. So it's not going to be destroyed. It's the way of life. And it's the people, the hatred, the wickedness, and etc. though. All of these things that will be wiped off of this planet that's coming, though. The dimensions are rising against themselves. The vibration of this planet has changed, and she's shaking the dust off herself, and she will shake you off too. Even though you're her child, she will shake you off of her too, though, because it's time for us to go to a dimension of peace, equality, and justice. And there will be no wretchedness and no wickedness in the kingdom, though, that's here, though, now, though, to actually... It's actually got its arms out like, here I am, though. You know, that's why the Christ was like, look, if they telling you though that the kingdom of God is here, don't look over there. If they're telling you it's there, don't look over there. He said, but the kingdom of God is within. And a lot of righteous people have been saying that though, but don't nobody want to hear that. You still got brain dead, mentally dead people, let's say, that still talking about when you die you're gonna float off into space somewhere into heaven. I still don't get that. I still don't get that. When the book is sitting right there in front of you and it tells you everything you need to know, especially when it's telling you, it's breaking down, how you should live. How you should live your life. It ain't got nothing to do with being religious. It just has to do with being righteous. And if you want a good life for yourself, you have to make sure that your mental world is intact. If your mental world is not intact, you will not have a peaceful life. Remember, everything that we call into our existence, everything that we have in our existence, we call into our existence. And everything that we have in our existence is a direct way of the way we're thinking. So if you think that you're going to pray to some kind of God or Jesus to save you from the things that you brought on yourself, you got to know that there's a law called cause and effect. Every cause has an effect. Understand? Every thought has to be held accountable for. Every action has to be held accountable for. And every word has to be held accountable for. This is the laws of the universe that you cannot transgress. These laws dwell within you, so you can't escape them. Your thoughts are what rule your world. And so when black people understand this knowledge, which they were the ones who actually put this knowledge out to the world, and now they have fallen asleep and the world uses this knowledge against you now. But once we find out about this knowledge and start teaching it to our children, then we will progress as a people. We will wake up as a people. We will not be bound and in slavery like we are, because a lot of black people think we still ain't in slavery, but we are, man. We are being held hostage. And the only thing that's going to get us out of here is ourselves. Not by picking up guns, not by picking up swords, not by chopping off white people's heads, as I hear all the time, though. We're going to start this war off with what? But your forces dwell within you. Your forces dwell within you as your mental powers, as the power that the universal creation gave you, even from when you were born. And you are to wake these powers up in the creation that you were born. You are to wake these powers up that are within yourself through meditation, through prayer, through eating right. You're to wake these dormant powers up that lie dormant within you. If you don't believe in them, they don't exist. Remember, it's whatever you believe in that exists. Whatever world that you think that you can have it. But we need to wake up as a people and say, hey, let's get together, man, because this right here, though, we're gonna be an extinct people in America here, though. We're gonna be extinct people. We're the most followed group in the world, especially when it comes to entertainment and things like that, man. We set the tone for everything. So let's set the tone for behavior in the earth. Let's set the tone for righteousness. Let's set the tone for everything that you can call righteousness. Let's set the tone for it and watch how the world follows. But first, we got to start within ourselves. We got to stop blaming other people, because right now it's on us to make the correction. It's on us to start calling upon that power that exists within us. There is nothing in space. There is nothing outside of you, even God. Everything exists within you. So when you start calling upon that power, call upon that power that lies dormant within you, and you will understand that there is something that exists for you and always has been, but you ain't never looked for it. You've been looking outside of yourself. I'm through with this video for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I get some feedback from it, though. Y'all have a peaceful day, and I'll see y'all again when I come back again.